I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. You're not amazed that I remember that? I have to lead the pledge at the Rotary Club meeting, which I did at 12 o'clock today. This is my second meeting leading the pledge just today.
We'll have board introductions now. I'm Lynn Miller, I'm chair, and I'm District 10.
I'm Janet Porter, I'm vice chair of District 8.
Joe Bogus, District 11.
Donna Belford, District 6. Janine Mutterer, District 9.
Dan Kaepernick, County Council, District 6.
Brenda Watson Powell, District 1.
Bernie Cole, District 3.
Tracy Robinson, District 4.
And my name is Amanda. I am your library director. I have some staff with us today. First, I'll introduce our deputy director, Josh Greer. He's taking copious notes as usual, so our minutes are on point. We are joined by 3 of our broadcast professionals. We have Alec Bishop, Craig Tedesco, and Troy Matthews making this live and available on demand today.
Thank you. I'd like to also mention that James Morale, from District 5, he's not able to continue as a trustee. He's sorry, as he's done so really at work, that he can't at this time continue. If anyone in the public is aware of someone who's interested in becoming a trustee of the library in District 5, please contact us, and we will definitely consider. Actually, I think online you can fill out an application.
Could you describe the folks what District 5 is?
District 5 is kind of in the area around Laurel Bay, as well as so Laurel Bay, Habersham, and then a little bit over the Lebanon, or the Broadway Ridge up to Lebanon.
And down in River Bend and Parkinson City.
It's the new District 5.
I think you can find it on the county website. If you find it, and you can see what district. And we are joined by Rosalie. Is there any correspondence communications?
I'm starting to feel lonely.
We will now have the library director's report. Oh, the minutes, I'm sorry. Could I have a motion to approve the minutes that were sent to you?
So moved.
November 8th minutes.
So moved.
Bernie has moved. And a second?
I second.
Second. And Tracy, thank you. And all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Okay. Now we'll have the library director.
All right, before I get into my report, I want to make you aware of some documents you have in front of you. You have my monthly director's report, our organizational chart, which we'll go over. But I also provided 3 additional pieces of paper that I'll go over in my report. And so I'll direct you to those when we get to those, but just wanted you to be aware of some really cool information I have to share today. I'll also be utilizing our screen to show you some pictures as well. First off, I want to let you know where we are with our personnel. As our organizational chart shows, we have 3 vacant positions. We are actively seeking to fill the senior librarian or the manager position for the upcoming Port Royal Library. We are also interviewing for senior library assistant on Bookweb Hill South and for a courier position. And so we're actively seeking those applications and trying to fill those as soon as possible. I do have 1 vacancy that is in the process of possibly being filled, and that is one of our new positions this year. We were blessed to be able to add to our organizational chart a marketing assistant for social media. One of the things that came out of the strategic planning surveys, the focus groups, was a desire from the community to hear from their library on various social media platforms. And so we were approved to have an assistant focused solely on broadening and enhancing our social media presence. So we've been conducting interviews and hoping to put a very qualified individual in that position very soon. I want to give you a little bit of photos from our staff. During December, as we get to the end of the year, one of our new traditions, this is the third year of doing it, we call it the Holiday Cheer Days. And so from about mid-December through the end of December 31st, getting into that New Year's, we take a day, each one of those days, and assign it a theme. And so you see we have Plaid Day, or Twin Day, I believe that was, from Hilton Head at the top. We had a Decades Day in the upper right-hand corner, Peace, Love, and Hilton Head. We had another Twins Day from our Beaufort staff. They all dressed like each other. Ugly Sweater Day, see Beaufort branch represented there. Pajamas on New Year's, so comfy jams on New Year's. And then also another trio who decided to participate in Twins Day in the bottom right-hand corner. So just wanted to let you know that we do have fun at work as well. And we made sure to let our public and the visitors to our library know what we were doing, and that it just wasn't a crazy pajama day, or that we threw the dress code out the window, but that we had a purpose for it. Staff enjoy this, and as you can see from their smiles, they get a lot of fun in dressing up or dressing down, should the occasion call for it. I also had the opportunity to wear a tutu in the bookmobile, with the bookmobile at the Bluffton and Beaufort Christmas parades. So you can't see, the bookmobile is decorated, but that's us in front of the Bluffton Christmas parade, wearing our red and green tutus throughout the town. So whatever it takes to get people to see the library. Now I'll go into our updates on where we are on projects, and as usual, I do this in the same themes that we have for our strategic plan. So one of the first themes that we are working on, our goals, is spaces. And so during this session, since our last meeting, we've conducted our first space audit that happened during our October Staff Development Day. This is an opportunity for us to have each one of our staff look at each one of our facilities through their eyes, but also through the eyes of other people, to note what needs attention, what isn't working, what signs are needed, what floor might need cleaning, or where are there issues in our spaces. Just kind of do an assessment on that. As I know, many people are waiting for an opening day announcement. We're not there yet, but construction continues on the Port Royal Library. And we have yet to create a situation of any sort of delay, so we're very happy about that. You're going to see a picture in 1 minute about the current work being done there. And this past Monday evening, our county council passed on first reading decision about acquiring property at 76 May River Road. So it has 2 more readings to go, but it did pass on first reading, and so we continue to pursue our goal of enhancing and identifying library spaces. Here's a picture of the interior of Port Royal right now. You can see some framing going on, the floors down to the cement, the concrete, but some electrical and some rough-in is being done as we speak. What you're looking at right now, where the table is, that will be a children's nook. Where you see the wood framing, that's going to be a small group study room, so about 2 to 4 people there. The next picture is when you're coming into the library from the front door, you would see where the framing is, that is the staff area and the public service desk. So work is underway, and we continue to be excited about the progress and how it's taking shape. The next goal in our strategic plan is our collections. And so we continue to get those orders finalized for the opening day collection for all those items that will be on the new shelves in the Port Royal Library. And very soon, in the next couple of weeks, we will be actually placing the order for the pickup lockers, which you've been hearing about. Just a reminder, that's what they will somewhat look like, of course, with our colors and design and our branding, but very similar to an Amazon pickup locker situation. These will be for library materials, and our pilot lockers will be installed at the Burton Wells Recreation Center in the exterior under the covered walkway entrance, and we hope that that will be utilized in Wellville. Under our third goal in our strategic plan is to enhance communications. And so in addition to the space audits, our marketing and communications librarian, you've met her before, Tracy Cox. She and I will be conducting signage audits with each branch. So think focus groups with our staff at each location to get at what signs are needed. Directional, flyers, all that, just our visual signage. How we say what we say and what do we need to say and where do we need to say it, where are signs needed, just to kind of get at understanding the needs. And then as I mentioned previously, we've been doing interviews to select our marketing assistant for social media.
Would you talk about how that signage audit applies to those with disabilities?
Sure. As a part of that, what we want to do is, number one, first do kind of an inventory of what signs are needed. Do we need something that designates a particular area or particular room? Do we need something that designates a bathroom or where things are located? Do we need a directory? Do we need a map? That sort of thing. And then from that point, we would do, in the design phase, we would incorporate the elements of making sure that those are the right font size, the right, if Braille is needed, or if other assistive types of things are needed, or if different visual cues are needed instead of language only. In the fourth strategic plan goal, we talk about user experience. So that idea of how people experience the library, making sure that those interactions with staff, our collection. So it is our pleasure to bring back, with the help of VITA and AARP, free tax assistance this year. So you have a flyer for you in your handout that lists all the dates and locations that VITA has, and AARP has it on their website. And on our library website, we will direct you to both organizations to find out where you can get free tax preparation services through these wonderfully talented and generous volunteers and volunteer organizations. VITA operates out of all 5 locations of our library locations, and AARP out of Bluffton and Hilton Head. And then I'm also pleased to tell you that we have selected our second artist in residence. It is Dornisha Batson. We had 26 applications this time around. So the committee had a very hard time with identifying who would be our next artist in residence. And so we're encouraged by that turnout and really encouraged by how that sets up this program for continued success. Dornisha, I want to read you a little bit about her. She was born in Maryland, but she relocated to Beaufort in the 80s. She is predominantly an abstract artist in painting and drawing. Her pieces are bold, colorful, abstract expressionists, with the desire to connect the viewer to the world around them. Batson has a Bachelor of Science degree in Business Management from Park University and a Bachelor of Fine Arts degree in Fashion Design from SCAD. Her art has been shown in numerous cities, including Washington, D.C., New York, London, England. Locally, you can see her work at the USC Bluffton Campus Library and the Low Country Dance Center. During her upcoming residency, Batson will provide 9 public workshops at the Beaufort Branch Library. Some of those are for children, teens, and some are strictly for adults. In addition, she will also have studio hours on a particular day each week at Beaufort, Lovico, and St. Helens. During those studio hours, people will be able to just come and see her paint right in the middle of our library, be able to interact with her, ask her questions, and learn more from her while she's painting in front of them. So I encourage you to put Wednesday, January the 24th on your calendar. I'll send you something else about that, but we will be having a Meet the Artist kickoff for her. That will be at the downtown Beaufort Library at 10:30, from 10:30 to 1:30. You can meet her and help get her residency off to a great start. And that is the end of my report, unless there's any questions.
Is there any questions? We sent that a press release and everything? Because I think the local magazines that we all get are clamoring for great stories, so this would be a good story.
We sent that out on Monday, Monday this week, Monday, Tuesday this week.
Thank you, that's a great report. There is no shortage of things going on in the library these days. Thank you so much. Joe Lopez would like to possibly talk about the financial part of the library.
Thank you, Lynn. And now we get to the really interesting and exciting part of the session here. We talk about our financial situation. And for those of you on this side of the room, you can follow the screen. For everyone else, I think you're going to have a sore neck if you try to do that. What I want to say at the very beginning is that right now we are halfway through our fiscal year. So we're 50% through. So we have a pretty good idea of where we're going and what we'll be doing for the rest of the year. And we'll go through this in really our normal sequence so you can follow very easily. Is that for those of you on this side, you can follow on the screen. For everyone else, it might be easier just to follow the page that's in your packet there. A couple comments on what we have on the screen. On the upper left-hand side, let's take a look at our state aid lottery funds. And you see that year-to-date, we've gotten in $210,000. We have spent year-to-date $93,000, leaving a nice carry-forward balance, about $117 there. We will receive another $210,000 throughout the rest of this fiscal year. So we're halfway through the year. We received 210, we get another 210 in. Immediately beneath that, into the next column over, you will see impact fees. And this again reflects the two sides of our changed impact fee apparatus with the new legislation that's passed. Impact fees currently recovered from building and construction go into a separate balance. Those that are that we've had held historically are really separately accounted for. In the old scheme, we had the 6 different districts, which is really combined now into 2 districts, north of the Broad and south of the Broad. For sort of reporting reasons here, at this point, our new balance does not reflect north of the Broad, south of the Broad. They're combined for the moment here. The bottom line figure that you'll see is that we have over $6,970,000 in our impact fee balance, which is the combination of the $6.7 million in the center column and the $200,000 that you have on the left-hand side here. That's where we are at this particular point. During the reporting period, we've had a single expenditure of about $7,425. Unfortunately, this is an old document here. It's double reported, so mentally take the $7,000 off the left-hand side balance there. The other correction that we have to make, and this refers to all the documents that you see on the screen here, is that you'll see a reporting date of 12/31/2024, overactive Excel date function. It's really 12/31/2023. So just kind of keep that in mind as we move forward here. So we have a nice, healthy balance, both in our state aid lottery, and again, this is strictly material spending only. That money is earmarked and can only be spent for library materials. We have a nice carry forward balance there, and we have a nice carry forward balance, about $6.9 million going forward in our combined impact fee accounts. On the right-hand side, special trust, there's really been no activity there, so we can skip that just for the moment here. And then if you would, what I also want to point out while we're on this screen here is that while this looks nice and balanced on our impact fees, we also have some identified expenditures, items that we have that are mentally accounted for that are coming out of this. So while that's a nice number, understand we have what the library staff calls encumbrances, what I would also call identified expenditures. We had $1 million earmarked for the Pritchard bill, new land acquisition. Now, we currently have identified the May River location, but that number went up from 1 to 2 million. So put $2 million out there. We also have expenditures which we've identified and accounted for Hilton Head renovation. We have Bluffton Phase 2. We have another $600,000 for the Port Royal branch that's currently under development here. So all in all this together here, we have about $3.3 million in identified expenditures here, which still leaves us with a nice healthy balance of about $3.6 million. But I understand that some of that money has already been sort of earmarked in terms of expenditures there. So if we could, let's move over then one screen and talk about our budget for a second. And again, those of you on that side, it might be easier taking a look at this. Again, halfway through the fiscal year, we are overall 50% of time spent, 50% spent overall. On personnel services, personnel and benefits there, we're at 49%, operating costs, operating expenses 58%, overall 50% all the way through. Nothing really jumps out here. A couple things I just want to identify because they appear to be a little bit off the map here. Uniforms were 90% spent. Again, this is the T-shirts and jerseys for the staff that you see out there. And also for professional services, there are some cataloging expenses that were identified in a prior reporting period. But everything else looks pretty much intact here. I would also comment that the Finance Committee, do go over this in much greater detail prior to the overall board meeting. So we do have a chance to go over this almost line by line by line in more detail than we have here. And then let's flip over then to our materials report. Okay. And at this point, halfway through the year, $390,000 spent, which is a very, very goodly, very handsome number. Of that, roughly 61% is spent on hoopla. You will see that there is no expenditure for lease books as yet. That reporting, that invoice and expenditure will be reported in the next session that we have here. So we're a little bit earlier in the year. It's simply a timing issue here. Most of our spend is coming out of county funds. You can see of the 391, 297 has come from the county there. That's almost 3/4 of the total spend. The rest of it is coming from state aid. Now, as a benchmark here, when we take this number and we add together incoming state aid, plus unspent library materials, plus receipts coming in, which we can expect from the Friends and other sources here, we add that up together, we're over 900,000. Now, library administration tells me that's too optimistic of a number, but I think we'll be well over 800,000 for the year in spend. Recognizing also that a good portion of this spend is going to be the initial fill for the Port Royal branch. Now, by comparison, last year, we were at about 760. So each year we keep inching up a little bit in terms of our material spend. Again, this is a pretty good indicator of where we are and how we're serving our library citizen patrons here.
Tab, can I impose on you? What is the population of Beaufort County?
189,000 plus, God
Okay.
only knows.
So I just want to say,
That's
that
all.
translates to about $4 per citizen, which is a very modest.
It's very
I
modest.
mean, I think to put that 800,000 in perspective, that's about $4 per citizen we're spending on library materials, which makes it seem that budget seem very reasonable, I think.
Nice. Oh, yeah. And I think in some earlier reporting sessions, we did talk to that very specifically. But you're right, that was a good ratio. Yeah. Now, before we kind of wrap up this, I'd like to step back a moment and put some of these numbers into perspective for the board, because it's one thing to talk about the raw numbers, quite another to really understand where we are and where we're going and the progress that the overall library has made. And what I'd like to do is to compare where we are today, January 2024, to 5 years ago, January of 2019. And what I'd like to start with is our impact fee account. Now, at this moment, we're just a tad under $7 million. 5 years ago, we were at 3.7 million. So we've made great inroads here. But at the same time, understand, impact fees represent construction and other building activity that's going on in the county. We don't do anything proactively to earn this money here. It's sort of a passive income in a way, but it is reflective of the growth that's going on in Beaufort County, and it's also reflective of the funds that we have available to meet the opportunities as they present themselves. And right now, we have two great opportunities. We have the Port Royal branch that's going up, and we also have the May River location building site that's been identified here. And then with this, with the availability of funds, we're able to jump in and to take advantage of these. So that's a very, very healthy point. And the other thing is that we also have funding available to meet planned maintenance, because we have expenditures that we've identified for this facility and also for Hilton Head here. So when we step back and say we've gone from 3.7 to 7 million, that's a good benchmark. That's a good indicator also. Now, we just finished talking about materials. Now, 5 years ago, we set a record at that point of $600,000 being spent on library materials. This year, we're looking at over $800,000. So we're looking at about, a nice, healthy, one-third increase here over that period. And I think library materials are really the things that bring the patrons into the door, because they're looking for the latest book, they're looking for what is on the bestseller list. So in that sense, we've made good inroads and the growth is there. Now, 5 years ago, also, we had a little larger staff. We had 83 as opposed to 81, full and part-time equivalents there, which means that library administration is capable of doing more servicing with less staff. To a certain extent, this reflects changes that have been made in library infrastructure, the self-checkout machines, the ability to reserve books online, pick them up right at the front door. Again, this is, to me, a good indicator that we're making progress. And also between the two time periods, we've jumped about 13–14% in terms of library card holders. How this reflects to population, I'm not certain, but it's a healthy increase. So when we take a look at all of this together, I think that we, library administration here, is really well positioned to move forward and to really serve the citizen patrons that we have. From where I sit as your finance chair, I think there's two main drivers here that make this happy picture happen. One is that Beaufort County government itself, the council and the administration, is really recognizing the value of the libraries to the community, not just the repository of books and materials, but also the current town hall, the current meeting place, the safe spot where you can go and do your homework and get resources there. That's very important. And the other thing is that during this 5 years, we've had two different library directors. We've had Ray McBride, now we have Amanda. And those people have also fostered good relationships with the county. And I think that's a very important catalyst. We take a look at what's happening in terms of the budget itself, in terms of the land opportunities that are being offered to the library for branch expansion and Port Royal branch. And I think this has all worked together to our favor. So overall, from where I look as where I sit as your finance chair, I think we're well positioned. We have a very healthy capital balance. The expenses are in line. The spend is right there, and I think we're in pretty healthy shape. And with that, that concludes my report. And if there are any questions, we'll do the best that we can.
Joe, could we get that screen there up on the ceiling so we could really crank it?
That would really be a pain in the neck.
Yeah.
Thank you.
We have a perspective, what we did 5 years ago, and how much growth there is. ago, we were not thinking really at all, so.
We've come through some difficult times.
Yes, and I think the county chair for all the things they've done to help us move forward. Thank you very much. Okay, we're now going to do, what we have done is we have reviewed the bylaws of the trustees. The bylaws are what we refer to all the time as to how we are going to run this organization. And they have not been reviewed since 2014. So we thought it best to take a look and see what kind of changes, how things have changed since 2014 and see if that needs to be reflected in the bylaws. And we were able to find some issues that we would like to change. Now, Tracy Robinson is the chair, and Tracy, would you like to, could I get a motion to
Absolutely.
update the Board of Trustees bylaws?
Yes, I make a motion to accept the revisions of the Beaufort County Board of Trustees bylaws.
Second.
Second by Bernie. Thank you. These have been sent out, and I assume you reviewed. Are there any questions?
Well, I think it's important to point out that this hasn't been done for 7 years.
Right.
So there was a lot of, happened in the last 7 years. Tracy, I appreciate the work that your committee did and very thoughtful additions. I don't have any negative comments
Yeah,
about that.
definitely a team effort.
Kind of contemporized the
Yeah.
bylaws, so I think that's great.
Definitely a team thing. Yes, she was. Yeah, we couldn't have done it without Amanda. Yep.
All right, if there's no other discussion, all in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you.
So I'm going to send this, this is the back piece of the last page of the actual bylaws, so that you're signing and not only just voting. So if you haven't already signed, please sign, and those will be included in the official documentation of the bylaws.
Those will be all up to date. The other thing that we looked at is the director's evaluation policy. Can I get a motion to make that change?
Absolutely. I make a motion to accept the revisions to the director's evaluation procedure.
Second.
Thank you. Are there any, would you like to read that one?
Yes, when Amanda and I the first time went through the evaluation process last year, it was clear to me that the the evaluation form was very tactical and not very strategic, that it wasn't really, that it lists a lot of tasks that needed to be done, but didn't emphasize enough the strategic role of the chair. So the intention of the review was to make sure that it really reflected the senior leadership position that Amanda is in, and the fact that, and so you'll see a lot of stuff about, to give the director a clear understanding of the board's expectations based on the goals, strategies, and outcomes in the strategic plan. So you'll see a lot of that in the documentation. The other thing is we wanted to make sure that the process of evaluating was participative, and we wanted to prescribe in this process that a kind of best practice, which was not identified before, that everybody on the board would be interviewed annually on how they, so everyone provided verbal feedback, and that was part of the evaluation. That wasn't prescribed before. So there's, I can answer any other questions for you, but we wanted this to be a process that resulted in more constructive, helpful feedback to Amanda, and we think we've come up with a process that will do that. So,
Janet, did this go through HR? County HR, because, we used the old one, which we hated.
Yeah, we've talked to the head of HR in previous years. They indicate typically that my position is such that I'm governed by this board. And so although I'm beholden to personnel handbook and all of that sort of thing, their procedure for evaluation determines,
And we had Catherine Mead say that this year.
I can have her review it again, but in the last evaluation process, you
Yeah.
spoke directly with
So
Catherine.
Tad, in the
Catherine.
last evaluation, and this policy says that this should happen, and it was kind of optional before, we spoke to the county administrator,
Chuck, my ACA.
Her direct report at the county, and the senior vice president, or whatever her title is, senior
HR.
director of human resources. And they were both really pleased to be able to participate in the evaluation process. They're very deferential to this group, but they were really pleased to be asked, and so we wanted to prescribe that that should happen.
That's
That
fine, as
doesn't
long as
happen.
Catherine's involved.
Yeah.
We don't want to run outside the circle. I like it much better than what we used to.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
much more concise.
Well, but it's different.
Yeah,
It's better.
thank you. Are there any other questions or comments? All right, all in favor of passing the director's evaluation changes, say aye.
Aye.
And opposed? None? Okay, so that will pass as well. We'll continue on with the committee reports. Is there anything for strategic planning, Janice Porter?
Nothing to report. We continue to be pleased that the executive director's report, that the director of the library's report follows the strategic plan, and that's really a best practice, that she reports every month on exactly what she said she'd do in the strategic plan, because the past reports have been a lot of activity, but there hasn't been a connection to strategically what we said we wanted to do. So she did a great job today, and we'll always stay focused on the 4 objectives in the strategic plan.
Bill Bowman, request for reconsideration committee.
Nothing for reconsideration.
Thank you so much. Bernie, do you have anything additional? And we did get some reports.
Yeah, just some quick notes. The Port Royal project, which the county already owned the land and the building. And so what they're doing is they're changing the interior, they're upfitting it, doing some miscellaneous improvements to the outside, things like that. And they estimate that the total cost will be about $445,000. The total project is $660,000. Now, the May River project, that consists of about 10 acres of land, and the price is $2 million, and that has gotten the first of 3 committee reports approved. So that's moving right along. Port Royal's moving right along. I think that's about all I got. Did I leave you all in the dust?
That's great. Thank you so much. The nominating committee, Tracy, will meet later in the year to talk about next year.
Right, and I'm more than sure you'll make sure I'm right there.
Thank you. Brenda, do you have anything? I see we've named this the Northern Beaufort County because the libraries are expanding up there as well. Were you able to make any meetings? Were there anything?
The last Friends of the Library Beaufort meeting, I was actually having surgery. Amanda did attend, so there are 2 accomplishments coming up I'm sure Amanda will touch on.
Yeah, the Friends of Beaufort, that retained their name, but just for the purposes of your agenda, I wrote Northern Beaufort. So the Friends of Beaufort Library are fast approaching the launch of their annual Book Sandwich Den series. The first Monday will be the 22nd, I believe. And those take place at noon at USC Beaufort in the Performing Arts Center. And so I highly encourage you to look at their roster of speakers and what the books that the speakers will be talking about, and make it a point to attend at least one or all of the sessions that you're able to go. It's always a wonderful time of discussion and community chats, and the ability to see a lot of people come together in the middle of the day. It's a wonderful opportunity to learn and listen and gather together. The other exciting event is on Saturday, January the 20th. the Friends of Beaufort Library and the Friends of Spanish Moss Trail and Beaufort County Library will be at the Depot Road trailhead of the Spanish Moss Trail for the long-awaited ribbon cutting of our second story walk. So the story walk stands are currently in place along the Depot Road trail access point of the Spanish Moss Trail. You can see our current story. But for the ribbon cutting, I encourage you to join us at 10 o'clock on Saturday, January the 22nd. And again, I'll send you these important upcoming dates that we've talked about in an email so you don't miss ribbon cuttings, book sandwiched in, or the Meet the Artist for our upcoming residency. So they're very excited about that. The Friends of Beaufort will meet tomorrow to keep on keeping on the good work of advocating and fundraising on behalf of the library.
For those of us who are south of the Broad, could you kind of tell us where that depot trail is?
I can send directions. But yes, most people, if you're familiar with downtown Beaufort, if you are on Ribault Road before you get to the county complex, on Depot Road, which is the stoplight right before the county, almost right before the county complex, you take a left and it will dead end into the Spanish Moss Trail.
Yep.
Oh, is that the story trail?
The
Is that
story walk, yeah.
In
So
Beaufort?
it is in Beaufort, yes.
And will Book Sandwich Inn be online at all? Will it be?
I do not believe they have plans to put, to Zoom those lecture series.
Thank you very much. Rosalie, do you have anything to report for Bluffton?
The Friends of the, I was looking for the name of this lady. I had it on my phone and somehow it disappeared. But she became, we have a giving tree from the Friends of the Bluffton Library. And she gave a very large donation, a very nice donation. And so I did want to mention that. They also are looking for volunteers again to take different positions on the Bluffton Friends. And so they did do a shout out about that too. And that basically was it.
Thank you. Well, the Hilton Head Friends will be meeting next week on Tuesday at 3:30 at the Hilton Head Library. They too are looking for volunteers. So if anyone out there wants to help the library, the Friends do a lot for the library, and we always can use some help from to be on the boards. It's not labor intensive. It's just kind of meeting and talking on how we can do things better. The Public Library Foundation also will be meeting in a couple, maybe next week. So next week, yeah. So there's no report there either. Is there any old business? No. Any new business? So the only announcement I believe we have is our next meeting, which is scheduled for March 13th at 4 o'clock at the St. Helena Branch. So I guess that's all we have today. Could I have a motion to adjourn the meeting?
So moved.
So moved. And second? Second? All in favor?
Aye.
And not? And no one. I guess we're done. Thank you. Yeah, that was a very-
Excellent job.